Hi, everyone. My name is Johnny Dosco. I'll be your host today, and welcome to the Big League Coaching Classroom. Big League Coaching would like to advise students of our class to take all the notes you like. However, no video recording and no still pictures are allowed. Our Big League instructor today is Eric Ortega, the medical review analyst for the San Francisco Giants. He's in his 15th season as the athletic trainer in the Giants organization, last 6 years as the Big League Club's assistant athletic trainer. Eric, a key contributor to the Giants' 2014 World Championship Ball Club. Now today, Eric will be talking about a vital part of the game, pre-game stretching. It's funny, Eric, some people don't really have a grasp on how important stretching is to overall health. Former big leaguer and marathon runner Eric Burns would always talk about how critical stretching is for maximum performance on the baseball diamond and in life. Why is stretching so important?
Hey, Johnny, how you doing again? Thank you for that great introduction. Awesome. I always feel welcome every time I get an opportunity to see you, so I appreciate that. Stretching, why is it important? Because we're preparing the body to do work. We're preparing the body to go to battle for 9 innings and sometimes more. Stretching has been shown to decrease injury risk. It provides the muscles with a good warm-up, a good length tension relationship, so that when we're asking our muscles to do some sort of activity, whether it be swinging, pitching, running the bases, having to redirect, having to stop and go, all those sorts of different avenues that, and things that come up in baseball, by preparing the body, getting ready, getting their range of motion ready, they can endure those things and endure them for longer, and hopefully, over the course of the season, be able to withstand as many games as possible.
It's funny, after calling baseball for almost 3 decades, I've seen all these players stretch before BP, and I watched them stretch again before the game. Why the double stretch?
Well, it's different than high school baseball, different than Little League. You just don't show up 10 minutes before, you stretch, and then you play the game, and then you go home. With professional baseball, because we have teams, minor leagues, major leagues, it does not matter. They're coming from a far distance. We only have one field to work out in. And so for a home team, your BP for a 7 o'clock game is going to be early in the day. I mean, we're talking 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Maybe your early work is that too. So here we are doing all those things early. We have to prepare the body to get that done. But then when we get off the field and the other team comes, our guys are going to be sitting in the clubhouse, sitting in their lockers, sitting on a couch. We can't just keep going and stay hot. So we're going to end up cooling down. We're going to refuel. We're going to get our body ready, and then we're going to turn it right back on about an hour and a half before game time. So they're going to have to get back up, get ready, get loose again, get moving. Because again, for maybe 2 hours, they were sitting there delaying. Also, too, you got to think, what happens if we have a rain delay? What happens if we have other issues that are unforeseen? And so all of a sudden now our guys have sat for 4 hours, and if they just run back out there, they're going to get hurt. So that's why there's that whole double stretch.
Gotcha. Let's get to it.
All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and do that. Go share my screen so we can see the presentation. All right, perfect. Class, welcome to Big League Coaching. Again, my name is Eric Ortega. You are in Enhancing Athletic Performance, and we're going to be talking about some disclosures and disclaimers. Again, all content, both written and oral, is my opinion and my experience. And these opinions and experience are based through my many years of education, research, and development. Today, there will be no talks, discussions, or questions about non-public information centered around Major League Baseball or the San Francisco Giants. As with any medical, sports performance, or exercise-based discussions, please use caution, use a level head, and always think about your safety. And if you have an opportunity, please receive clearance from your local healthcare provider just to make sure that you are able to do some of these exercises. Again, I'm not going to be asking too much. I'm not going to be asking you to do anything crazy. But what I am going to be asking you, I want to make sure you're good and safe. So today, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about some pre-game stretching topics. First, we're going to identify different types of stretching. We're going to define them, and then we're going to go ahead and indicate what they can be used for. Secondly, we're going to start discuss about stretching for exertion, stretching for that workout, for gameplay, for you going on a run, for you playing in the outfield with your kid, whatever it may be. We're going to get talking about stretching for exertion. And then finally, we're going to discuss form running.
Before you get into different types of stretching, tell us why stretching is better than muscle activation, or is it?
Johnny, it's funny because you hear both those two terms quite frequently, and sometimes they get used synonymously with each other, and then sometimes they're completely opposite. So I think it's a very loaded question. And in my opinion, both are equally important. I guess the main question really is to help answer this is, what is the goal? What are you trying to accomplish when we start talking about stretching or muscle activation? Are you getting ready for sports participation? Are you getting ready for a game? Or are you just trying to improve the length of maybe a contracted muscle or a tight muscle because you were sitting too long one day? I'm not sure what your profession is. I'm not sure as a little kid if you're, or not you, but everybody, were we sitting in class too long? Whatever it may be, what's the goal of that routine on that day? So hopefully my talk and some of the things I have to provide will just kind of help that question, answer that question, and many more that you or the class might end up having.
Sounds great.
Oops, apologize. All right, so we're going to be talking about different types of stretching. So the first we're going to be talking about is passive. Passive stretching. It's any type of stretching that uses an applied force. So as you can see, here we have our patient and our therapist. He's actually doing the work for her. She is kind of just, I don't want to say lounging, but she is sitting there relaxed, and she's not stressing or straining. She's letting him do all the work. This could be done through a physical therapist. It could be done through the use of bands, or simply a wall or a ledge that you put your foot up, lean your foot against, arm, shoulder, back, whatever it may be. Some indications for this use: tight muscles due to use of activity. Maybe you went out and ran. Maybe you went and did some additional exercises, not really sure. So the other indications for use may be restrictions and or adhesions. And these are typically going to happen from surgical procedures, maybe an injury, which an athlete sustained and he was immobile at a joint, meaning let's say he was in a cast or a boot or a walking straight leg brace.
Now, is the passive stretching only for players that are coming off some kind of injury?
No, not at all. I mean, many of our healthy players do passive stretching as well, particularly because it's easier to just lay there. You know, I don't want to say they're lazy, but it's nice when other people do the work, right? But also because there's a component of passive stretching where the muscle is best stretched in a certain line of pull. And for some of our players, it's difficult to get into that position or hold that position without causing them to resist.
Fantastic. I know it's funny because I know it's such a big part of the game. And you see these guys being stretched by people that actually do it for a living, like yourself. The stretching is so. It just seems like it's one of the more vital parts of the entire game of baseball.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. So we're going to move on to active stretching. Active stretching. It does not really involve an outside application of force. You are doing the work. The greatest example of this is yoga. Some indications for use on active stretching are to increase the range of motion of a joint, to maintain flexibility, and to increase blood flow.
You know, it's funny, I didn't see yoga being used 25 years ago. It's becoming more and more popular every year amongst the baseball community, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know, my honest opinion about it is that there are significant amounts of benefits to yoga. Beyond treating your body, I really feel like you're going to be treating your mind as well. I feel like there's something about yoga that gets people to really loosen up and relax. I think when you're in a group, you go to a yoga class, when you're in some of those areas and you're around like-minded people, I think it's easier to get into a nice flow and completely let your guard down. I mean, you've been in the clubhouse before, Johnny. You've been around the clubhouse, the training room, the gym. Sometimes those aren't the most ideal places or situations to really try to just completely let go, completely just not get distracted by what's going on. So I feel like yoga studios and guys that can do it on their own in their hotel rooms or before they go out, they leave their house, whatever it may be. I feel like those are the places where they could get a really good work and active stretch from yoga.
Great.
I apologize, my computer is going really fast today. So let's talk about static stretching. Again, this was something we were taught as kids. I mean, you know, when you started playing, I'm sure when the class started playing when they were young, it was, hey, get on the ground, let's do this hamstring stretch. Lean over this way, let's stretch and hold. Typically, a stretch like this is going to involve some sort of stretching of an isolated muscle at its max stretch position for roughly, 30 seconds. It could be both active and passive, meaning you could be doing the work just like the gentleman in the picture, or it could be passive, in which, you know, here we are, we're asking a therapist to go ahead and stretch us or use a band. Some indications for this type of use of stretching are going to be restrictions, whether it be in the joint or in the muscle itself, or potentially just a shortened or tight muscle due to some sort of workout or strenuous activity that you just completed.
If you had to do one, you had to pick one of these, would you do active or static stretching? What would be the best?
My personal opinion, I like active before static. I like active before activity and static after activity.
Okay.
The reason is, before, I want to keep moving. I want blood to be circulating, and I want it to pump around my body. After, I'm in that cool down phase. I'm in that phase where I'm just, you know what? I just completed a workout. I completed a run. I went on a very strenuous hike. I played a baseball game. I played 9 innings. I pitched in the game. I started, whatever it may be. I want to just kind of really just take the time, sink in, relax, limit my body movement, just so I could really focus in on my stretching. Now, again, that's for me. Other people might disagree. I don't think there's a real scientific, hey, this is what you have to do or you're never going to be healthy. In my opinion, that's not where we're at. I think this is something that, you know, is kind of, you know, on their own, player specific.
Yeah, it's just different for different players, right?
I would agree.
Yeah.
So let's jump into dynamic stretching. This is one of my favorite types of stretching. And what it is, it involves moving a muscle through its full range of motion. There may be a brief pause in the motion, but for the most part, it's continual. What we're doing is we're expanding and contracting our muscles within a certain range. Indications for use here, we're trying to increase blood flow, and we're trying to prepare muscles at all ranges for exertion. So when we get out there, when we do our activity, when we're running the bases, when we're pitching, when we're hitting, we have hopefully gone through a whole motion sequence that is similar to what we're going to be doing out on that baseball field. So what are my guidelines for a stretching sequence? Everybody asks me what should I do? How should I go? What's the routine? For me, it's a dynamic stretch routine. I like to start with that. I like to warm up with ready to go. After, I'll start an aerobic / form run type warm up. And we're going to be going through that a little bit later today. So we'll talk about that a little more. But then I jump into my athletic participation. I jump into my game. I jump into the 9 innings, 7 innings, depending if you're high school, college, or professional ranks. And then we get into active or static stretching post game.
You know, it doesn't happen all the time, but I do see it sometimes, at least in AAA, where a player won't take stretching all that seriously. What are some of the consequences for a player that doesn't take it seriously at all?
You know, Johnny, it's doubtful that if they don't take it seriously on one day, they're going to get injured. I'm not completely believing in on that. But if they don't take it, or if they don't take it serious for long periods of time, if they don't do the work, do the stretching, there's going to be some changes that are coming. There's going to be some bodily changes. Their muscles are going to get tight. They're going to go through the effects of fatigue. They're going to go through the effects of lingering tightness and soreness. And in my mind, all those equate to injury. So the one day that you kind of just slacked a little bit, I'm not overly worried. Now, if you let that slacking go, then it becomes a problem for me.
Okay.
So we're going to go through our routine for stretching for exertion. This is a routine that I've developed. This is a routine that I enjoy. This is a routine that I actually use on myself and some of my athletes that, you know, I work with. So when we jump into this, when we go into this, please feel free to kind of write down the routine as we go. So this way, when we're done and you end up going and working out on your own, you get ready for your own game, whatever it may be, you can kind of just, you know, run through this and see how you feel and see if you get good and warmed up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the lower body. So there's just going to be a lot of videos, and we're going to go from left to right of the screen. We're going to start with knee hugs. Then we're going to jump into anterior lunge. I'm going to play a video. We're going to watch it a few times. I'm going to make some comments. And Johnny, feel free if you have any questions to jump right in and just kind of, you know, let's talk through this just so we can make sure that the audience in our class knows exactly what we're trying to ask them to do. So we're going to start with the knee hugs. As you can see, it's literally, we're just going to bring that knee up and we're going to tuck it right into our body. And with our opposite leg that's down, we're going to extend it because we really want to get into that triple extension position. That means the ankles extending, the knees extending, and the hips extending. So you're going to take a few steps in between, and you're just going to go ahead and grab that knee and pull that up. Let's go ahead and watch that one more time. Again, we're going to take a step or two, pull that knee up, and pull it nice into the body. And what we're trying to do is really stretch that posterior capsule of the hip. And then on the opposite side of the side down, we're trying to stretch that anterior portion of the hip as we extend through. Now let's move into the anterior lunge. Some people think of this as a workout. Not all people think of it as a stretch. The reason I like it as a stretch is I'm about to show you is the additional movement that I haven't provided in the name. It's now actually going to be an anterior lunge with a chop. So let's go ahead and watch. We're going to walk right into our lunge position and we're going to chop over that knee. The reason we're chopping over that knee is because now I'm really opening that front side. As you can see, my leg falls back, or not falls, but it's in the back, and we're going to open it up, and that's just going to cause that anterior capsule, that anterior hip. I apologize, we just jumped ahead. It's going to cause that anterior capsule, anterior hip, and really that hip flexor to stretch out really well.
Yeah, hey, these stretches, are they more for injury prevention or just straight stretching to loosen up those muscles?
You know, for me, Johnny, that's one and the same. I mean, this sequence is to loosen up muscles. It's to also prepare muscles for activation and get the joints moving in all directions. All those factors go into playing a game, warming up, but they all go into injury prevention as well.
Right, okay, gotcha.
So now we're gonna go into the side lunge and then the walking quad with reach. We're gonna go ahead and start with the side lunge. As you can see, we're just gonna go ahead and take a nice side step, and we're gonna bend our knee, and we're gonna try to stay over our body. We're not trying to get outside of our extended leg. We're just gonna try to lower it and really stretch that dragging leg groin. And we're just gonna go ahead and run through this one more time just so we can see. And then as we're gonna raise up our hand. This is gonna center our gravity. This is gonna help us kind of maintain over our body and just help us sink deeper into that stretch. Perfect. Take a couple extra steps. And the reason we're taking steps instead of doing it right there is because typically I like to do this stretching in a line. I don't want to just stay in one spot. That additional walking, that additional movement, that really helps players to continue with their warm up and get that blood flowing throughout their body. Now we're going to move to the walking quad with reach. This is essentially a quad stretch, and we're just going to add an additional component to it. That's going to just help maximize this stretch. So as you can see, we're going to be walking forward. I'm going to grab my leg and extend my arm up. Really what I'm trying to do is really expand that complete front side of my body. I'm trying to really expand from the knee that's pulled all the way up through the hand. We're kind of making an X pattern in our body. We're really trying to stretch that, really trying to open that up. We'll watch it again. Jeez. I keep missing the circular part. I apologize. We're really trying to open that up and really just trying to extend the body and just get us good and loose.
Hey, Ian, that side lunge.
Yes, sir.
How many degrees do you want that to go, and how long do they hold it normally?
You know, I wouldn't say there's a set number of degrees in knee bend or hip abduction. For me, it's player specific. It's what they're able to do. I would rather them use good technique. I'd rather the leg that's lunging, keep the toe straight, keep the knee over the toe, and go to an area where they feel comfortable. Go to a distance that they're able to get back up. What good is it to ask them to go all the way down to the floor or far to the right or reach out as far as they can if they're not going to do it correctly? Because then at that point in time, they're not really going to get the benefits of this exercise. So for me, it's being more comfortable in it and being in the right frame, the right stage, the right motion, so that you can then come back up and get it. Because if you can't do that, people are going to get discouraged and they're going to say, I don't need this exercise. I'll go on to the other ones. You know what? This is really important for game participation.
Makes sense.
So now we're going to get into the punters in the backward stick man. So for our punters, literally it's going to look like we're punting a football. And all we're doing is we're working on our hamstring. We're just going to go ahead, we're going to drive that leg up. I use my other hand to kind of gauge how far I'm going. And then the one thing that has to be noted is after we take it up, we're going to whip it right back down. We're going to get that hamstring, just that fire, and really bring that leg down. So we're going to try to, it looks nothing like running, but it's going to, similar to running where you're trying to put your foot down and pull it back as hard as you can. That's what we're trying to simulate right here. So hand up, whip it right back down. Up, whip it right back down. Perfect. Now let's go back into the backward stick man. Now this is going to be an eccentric stretch for the hamstring. And all we're going to do is we're really going to take we're going to put our opposite leg out, and we're just going to go into kind of like a T. And all we're going to do is really stretch that hamstring. We're going to get a forward lean, and we're really going to put that hamstring on stretch. Again, it's eccentrically loading, and this is going to be similar to some activities that we might be doing, especially on the baseball field. Think about a third baseman or a shortstop coming in and charging the ball. What's going to happen? They're going to, reach down with one leg that's planted, reach down with the rest of the body to grab that ball and fire it off to first. This is preparing the body for that sort of action. Also, too, it's kind of similar for pitchers. Is that not how they finish? That's all incorporated into baseball. The reason I'm, using my arms and pulling them out, the reason I'm using my arms and pulling them out is because I want my chest up. If I let my arms drop, my chest is going to drop, my body's going to drop, and I'm not going to put myself in a really good position to kind of do the work, do what I need to within the right line of pull.
Hey, Eric, why are certain players more apt to have hamstring injuries? You see players that'll get that hammy injury over and over again. Is that just their natural body, or not doing the punters and the backward stickmen? I mean, why is that?
It's a question that's been researched plenty in professional baseball, and it's honestly an answer of no one completely knows. There's so many theories. It's, you didn't prepare for the game, you're dehydrated, you've been playing too many games in a row, you're weak, you're tired, you're fatigued, you're too strong, you're tight. There's just so many different factors. I think it's more difficult to really determine why that initial injury happened. The injuries I'm concerned with are the ones that continue to keep happening, because then that means you're not identifying anything in what you do in any of your programming, whether it be stretching, whether it be weight training, whatever it may be. So the routine injury, the re-injury is what I'm concerned with.
Okay.
So now we're going to get to the backward lunge with reach. So we're going to be moving backwards on this one, and we're going to be it's a lunge backward with a reach up. And again, we're really trying to just over accentuate that side. This is no different than the anterior lunge, similar to the anterior lunge with chop, just in a little bit different direction. And as you can see, we're just walking back, and we're just going to go ahead and raise that arm on that leg. And we're really trying to open up that front side. And we'll watch it one more time. Backward lunge, hand in the air. Main thing is, you saw me wobble there. We really want to try to keep an upright posture. I don't want a forward lean of the body, because a forward lean of the body means you're losing that stretch on that anterior side.
What does that stretch specifically help, E?
Hip flexor. We're really loosening that up so that it's ready to fire when we're running, to come back from its extended position, but also whenever we're going into as we're running and we draw that leg back, we want to make sure that we have that ability to really extend our legs as we get into that really high intensity sprint. So now we're going to get into the world's greatest. I think it's a funny name because, well, you're going to end up seeing. I'll let you see why, but it's a difficult move. It takes a lot of concentration, and it incorporates a whole bunch of different motions and work that are necessary for gameplay. So as you can see, we're going to be just anterior lunging forward. We're going to put our knee between our leg, and then we're going to open up. We're really stressing that T-spine rotation right here. So right foot, right elbow, Open up over that elbow, really get that T-spine, rock back. That rock back is important because now we're also hitting the hamstring as well. So now we get our T-spine, rock back, hamstring. There we go, T-spine, rock back, get our hamstring. This is a really good exercise. We're gonna now watch it from the side just so you can get a good idea of what it is that it's looking like from all angles. So again, we're gonna walk forward. Again, we're really getting that anterior lunge to separate, flexion, extension of the hip. And then we're gonna go into our T-spine with that rotation, and then boom, right into the hamstring stretch. We're gonna take a few extra steps, T-spine, right back into the hamstring stretch. I really enjoy this one. Yes,
Eric,
go ahead.
it's funny you talk about the world's greatest. I talk to players, some don't call it the world's greatest. They have a tough time with this one. Why is this one so tough on players? Is it the degree of difficulty? What is it?
I think it's the technique in it, and it's the I think because it incorporates so much. It incorporates mobility, incorporates stability and control. And I'm not saying our players don't have that, but what I'm saying is that this stretch, to do it correctly, it takes some time. It takes time to make sure it's done accurately and correct. And like you said, earlier before, and let's be honest, sometimes our players are so concerned with so many things during the day that sometimes their stretching technique is not completely their priority. This is something I would like for them to honestly work at, because I do believe of how good of a stretch this is. But there are times where I do see people struggle, and sometimes they just kind of turn off. I still would love them to try to keep on and focus in, but if I could still get them to do the exercise, and they may not be okay with it or great at it, we're still getting some benefits.
Gotcha.
All right, so now we're going to go to the forward and backward hurdle step. So we're going to go forward. So really forward, we're trying to keep our chest forward, and all we're going to do is just big circular steps. That's all we're doing, big circular steps, because what we're doing is we're really trying to get those hips loose. We're trying to get the entire range of motion. I want the ball and socket joint of the hip to really go through its complete motion and get ready for activity, because we don't know what types of movements we're going to make. Now, are we going to do that on the baseball field? Of course not. But you start talking about putting your body in crazy positions that there's going to be a point in time where your hip is in that motion. Maybe you won't be standing straight up. You might be kind of laying out off to the side, whatever it may be. But I promise you, we will go through that. But that's good. That one's huge for our catchers because of how they go into that deep squat. Now we're going to do it backward. So the backward's a little bit different. So we're going to start off real slow by just making those big circles. And what we're trying to do the best we can is keep our chest straight. Then we're going to turn it into kind of like a little dance. And we're going to try to get going. We're really trying to activate that posterior side. We're really trying to get that good motion and ready to start firing. So hips, nice circles, and then let's get into that dance and get going.
Hey, you're a pretty good dancer there. This is good for priming the hips, right?
Oh, no doubt. And I'm a terrible dancer, first of all. But yes, no, we are priming the hips. We're ready to go. Remember, we're going to be sprinting. We're going to be rotating. Our pitchers are going to be rotating. Our catchers are going to be in a deep flex position. Our infielders are going to be in that ready position, their pre-pitch position, and then they're going to have to react. So these are good exercises to really warm up those hips. So now let's move into our upper body. So we're going to start simple arm circles. We're just going to go forward and backwards. I put them on one video, so it's just real nice and easy. As you can see, we're going to go forward, and we're just going to be nice and small. We're not going to be getting too big. Now they're going to start to extend. We're going to go from small circles to big circles, and we're going to get nice and warmed up. Then we're going to stop, and we're going to go backward. And all we're doing is just progressively getting bigger with our circles. And all we're doing is literally, like I said, we're just getting that shoulder, getting it ready to go. We're loosening up the joints, the anterior musculature, the posterior, and just all the ligaments and tendons within that shoulder. We're just getting them ready to go. And we're just knowing that we're going to be throwing, we're going to be pitching, we're going to be hitting. It's vital to get our shoulders good and warmed up. So then we're going to come from shoulder circles or arm circles to arm swings. And we're really just trying to open up the chest and open up open up the back. And what we're seeing is you see me really accentuate opening the chest and then closing those arms and really trying to stretch out the back. As you can see, I am rotating my thumbs so that I can, when I'm wide, my thumbs are open. It really helps with that pec stretching. And then I close them so it really stretches out that posterior shoulder in the mid back as I come across. And we're really just, like I said, just good arm swings.
Hey, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about that for pitching and throwing, but you brought up something just now that it was interesting. You say it's good to loosen up before you hit as well, huh?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think people don't realize how much their arms are involved in hitting. And I have another class on hitting. At no point will I be given any hitting tips. It's just going to be about actually the movement of the body. So please check that out. But yes, no, it is exactly. It's important for us to warm up for hitting. So let's dive back into it a little bit more. We're going to go with the diagonal arms. And all we're doing is now trying to simulate more of that pitching motion. So we're going to be going in a 45-degree angle with both arms, one low, one up. And we're going to always maintain that thumb upward posture. The other thing we're doing is when you see me go back, if you can see me, I'm really squeezing my back. What I'm doing is I'm really trying to engage my scaps. My scapula is on the back. I'm really trying to bring them in together. When I can retract my scaps, that means my shoulder, my anterior part of my chest can really open up. And when we get into pitching, and if anybody's seen my class on pitching mechanics, you'll really understand how important that is. So now let's get into some flexion extension. Flexion extension is just going to be essentially arms moving up and down. I've heard these things called swimmers. I've heard them called a whole bunch of things. And all we're doing is really just trying to loosen up that lat and get it going. Remember, the lat is a big, broad-based muscle on our back that comes up and attaches to our arms. And all we're doing is just really trying to loosen that up and get it going so that when it comes time to work, come time to throw, come time to play, we're good, well, and prepared.
Hey, why is it important to loosen up that T-spine?
T-spine's important. I mean, Johnny, you've seen some of the movements we've been doing, whether it be the dynamic warm-up, some of the movements that we're doing in here. T-spine is important because when your thoracic spine, that's what T-spine stands for. When your thoracic spine is mobile, you're going to have greater mobility in the shoulders. When your T-spine is limited, you're actually going to limit your ability to move from your upper body. And you're going to have to put more work on some of those structures that are stable. And then you're going to have to put give more mobility to your lumbar spine, which is something we don't want. Most of our T-spine work is going to be done in the gym, but there are times where we can get it, accomplished through what we're doing. And I think we've shown some exercises that do that. Okay. So now we're going to get into internal and external rotation of the shoulder. This is similar to our pitching motion. And all we're going to do is we're going to start with our elbows at the side, and we're just going to be rotating in and out. We're really trying to, again, get our rotator cuff firing, get our rotator cuff ready to go. I hate to keep just throwing it back to it, but if you see my video on pitching, you're going to really understand why internal and external rotation of the shoulder is important and why it's important for health. And all we're going to do is just do that motion. Let's go ahead and watch it one more time. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and watch it one more time for our viewers. In and out, nice and easy. Really trying to loosen up that shoulder, really trying to get that rotator cuff firing, get it ready to go. And we're going to come up to this 90-90 position right about now. And then we're just going to go internal and external from there. This is more similar to the pitching motion right there. And we always want to do things both shoulders. Just because I'm a righty doesn't mean I only do my right side. Just because I'm a lefty doesn't mean I only do my left side. So now we're going to get into our scap push-ups and scap push-outs. Again, the scapula is important in throwing. It's basically the base for the humeral head of the arm, or for the of the upper arm. So what I'm really trying to do is push out my scaps and really trying to retract them in that scapular motion plane. And now we're going above overhead, and I'm really trying to reach my scaps up as high as I can and pull them down as low as I can. So I'm really trying to get that scapular movement. I really want those scaps to be moving freely, because the more they move, the more health I'm going to have in my shoulder. And as you can see, I'm really pushing out. Now I'm really pushing up and drawing back down. I'm focused on my drawing back down. I really want to draw those things down and back. So now we're going to hop into some form running. And everyone always asks me, why is form running important? Well, form running is important because it improves running posture and technique. What does posture and technique have to do with running? You increase your running posture and technique, you're going to increase your speed and efficiency. I'm not saying if all of a sudden you start doing form run, you're going to become a world-class sprinter, but I do believe you will reach another level, another tick of speed that you have in your body. But you're also going to be increasing your efficiency. Well, why is increasing your efficiency? I can hear everybody. Why is increasing our efficiency so important? Because increasing efficiency decreases running injuries. But it's also, in my belief, going to increase on-field performance. The better you move, the quicker you move, the more efficient you move, the more you're going to be able to get into a position to do a certain activity, to make a certain play, to get into a position to field something that in the past you might not have been able to get there. So I really believe that priming yourself, moving efficiently, reaching new speeds, increasing your posture and technique can only elevate your game.
You know, I know you'll get into it, but what kind of running mechanics do you focus on during the form running stage of stretch?
You know, things that I like to really remind people are to stay over your ankles when we do some form run. When you end up starting to sprint, you do have a little bit of a forward lean, but it's not so much of a lean that your head is leading your body. Well, I mean, it's not directing your body, because remember, running is your feet propelling yourself. Other things I like to say are, don't spend lots of time with your feet on the ground. Don't plant your feet and kind of just say we're hitting the ground, we're bringing it right back up. We're teaching our body to move quick. We're teaching our body to hit the ground, pop right back off, because that's what speed is. It's your ability to just turn over your feet, you know, increase that rate of turnover so that you can continue to propel yourself. I like to remind everyone to have an upward posture, not so much where you're leaning back, but just one that's nice and upright, because the more you lean forward, the more sometimes you start looking into the ground and you kind of, you know, have that head down position. You're going to be limiting some of the motion that you end up having. The other thing I like to do is just to remind them that on certain exercise that require specific positioning, for instance, we start talking about, I don't want to get too much into it because I want you to see it, but there's going to be one where I'm talking about getting a good leg drive. And why is leg drive important? Because that's just starting you off right away. If you can get yourself a good leg drive every time you go to sprint, you're going to be now propelling yourself quicker and faster than other people. And that's going to just get you that extra base. So we're just going to start with high knees. Again, we're going to start with an upright posture. We're going to get our arms swinging, simulate running, and we're going to bring those knees up to the 90 position. And as you can see, the minute my feet are on the ground, I'm really trying to explode right off. I'm really trying to get them back up. And all I want is just to go ahead and really get my hips going, get my hips loose. I'm not wasting any energy by, you know, keeping my arms down, keeping my head down. I'm really focused on where I'm going, and I'm just bringing those knees up, trying to get going. So now we're going to move to butt kickers, classically called because your heel hits your butt. Simple as that. But what we're trying to do is, again, I don't want people to lean forward. Forward butt kickers, they're not really helping, because what I'm trying to do is stretch that whole anterior side while I get into this. But not only that, I want my heels to come up high when I'm sprinting, because now that makes me feel like that makes me feel like I'm really trying to grab onto that ground as I'm sprinting, drag my leg through so that I'm really extending out and pushing off. And so I'm really focused on my hamstring contractile components right now. Perfect. Let's go ahead and move on. No, I hit play again. I apologize. So now we're going to the side shuffle. Side shuffle, you're gonna look one direction on the field, and you're literally gonna be moving from left to right or right to left. And all we're gonna do is just shuffle our feet. Try to keep them to where they're not completely clicking together. The other thing, I apologize. The other thing we're trying to do is to make sure that we're not getting too much of a hop. I don't want to just jump straight up. Obviously, we got to move. We got to hop a little bit to get going, but there's going to be a component of it where I'm not looking for people to just completely jump. We're not looking for height. And then we're going to get our arm swing just because we're just trying to increase our activity, increase the blood flow, and get us nice and loose, and we're really moving our shoulder. Let's move on to karaoke. I really love karaoke because I feel like it really works that transverse plane. I feel like it really gets the lower body ready to really react and redirect our motion. So as you can see, it's similar to the side shuffle in that we are going lateral, but what you need to focus on is watch that hip drive come up and over. I really want to take it through a full range of motion. I don't want it to just go onto the ground in front of my other foot. I really want it to drive up and over because I'm really trying to get that whole range of motion of the hips. Also, you can see my arm swinging. Now I'm really getting some good T-spine rotation and help loosening up.
Yeah, that karaoke, it looks like it's good for upper and lower body, seems like.
Yeah, I mean, you're not getting great, you're not getting so much motion from the upper body that I could say, oh, you can do karaoke and now you're completely ready to play. Right. But I do believe, yes, you're incorporating the upper body when it comes to running, because you don't just run with your lower body. You run with your upper body too. And trying to understand how your body works while moving, while running, you get good arm swing, Johnny, you can really help increase that tempo. You really get that good stretch reflex and really drive those arms. It really helps propel your body as we sprint.
It seems to me just over the course of the years in baseball, that baseball players are more cognizant of their bodies. Obviously, they're more athletic through the years, but it just seems like they understand how important their bodies are and maintaining it important for the game of baseball, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think now, I'm not trying to take anything away from players of the past, but I think there's definitely a difference of opinion now from what it was before. I know some of our older coaches that when we first started some of these warm-up routines, they just kind of looked at us and said, well, we never did that. Why do you have to do that? And again, not trying to take anything from it, but science has showed us that, this is a great way to prepare for games.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move into the drop step. I mean, you're going to be the first one to see. This is our outfield right here. This is us going deep on a fly ball. This is our infielder getting that hit. This is our infielder reacting to that hit that's right overhead. And all we're focused on, all I'm really trying to incorporate is just to see we're drop stepping, we're turning our body, and we're getting going. We're really trying to just emphasize that motion and boom, getting it right into a sprint. Taking good 3 hard steps, and then you can just go ahead and nice relax. Now this one literally is called 3 hard steps. Why? I really want to emphasize getting out of the blocks, really hitting it hard, really quick, really fast. Because again, like I said before, if you get that initial step, if you can get that explosion right off the line, you're going to increase your speed and maybe take an extra bag or two, maybe, turn that from a single to a double, or score from first when you might have been, halfway and your third base coach kind of had to hold you up. So I'm trying to drive off the ground, get out and get my legs going, and really trying to emphasize that sprint technique.
Yeah, you watch like a Steven Duggar, and he always seems to be at the spot. A lot of that is athleticism, obviously, but I can think these drills would be probably good for a center fielder to kind of sprint to that spot, right?
No, definitely. Both these two right here. I mean, 3 hard steps is for anybody in the game, but yeah, the drop step, 3 hard steps. These 2 exercises right here are like I said, classic for our center fielders because they need to get to that initial, that ball, that deep one in the gap. Remember, we're 421 now with our new change at Oracle Park, maybe 420. I can't remember exactly if we changed the dimensions, but how much in that corner, but that's a far way for people to run. That's a lot of ground to cover. So that drop step and those 3 hard steps, those are important to getting to where we need to be and getting to those balls. So I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank the class. I'd like to thank our athletes out there, and I hope I was able to shed some light on some things for you and good use for a lot of things.
You're an encyclopedia, man. You really are. But I've learned so much every time. And let's go over our class, kind of recap it a little bit. It sounds like any type of stretching can improve your health, but each specific type has a specific purpose to what you're trying to accomplish. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. I would agree with that statement. Again, like I said, I have a way of doing things. I have a way that I set up and I go about my stretch routine, whether it's pre-participation or post-participation. So I hope I gave our athletes and our class and our students a kind of idea of what it is and some options for them to try, so that when they do go prepare for a game or post game, they have a good idea of what it is that works best for their body.
Secondly, while stretching for exertion, it's clear to say that each exercise primes the major muscle group for that movement, right?
Yes, no, definitely, and that's a big part of the design, the research and design for those. Remember, we are trying to get that length tension relationship of the muscle. We're trying to get that muscle prepared for action. We're trying to get that muscle prepared for that firm, that exertion that they're going to be going through. And it looks so easy and effortlessly, but I mean, muscles contracting and relaxing, I mean, it's violent at the muscular level, and you don't notice it, you don't feel that, because it's something we do every day, but we have to be ready to go. And the reason I say it's violent is because when they don't do it correctly and they get injured, look what happens. I mean, we're talking about significant tearing, significant, disruption of tissue. So really getting that priming and ready to go only increases your chance of being injury free.
Finally, it seems imperative that our class understands how important form running is and how it translates to performance.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, as I showed, the better you are at your foam run, the more you spend on your technique and getting good and running, getting good at running and getting good at form is only going to increase your speed and again, increase your efficiency. And anytime we can improve in efficiency, we improve production, and our production is on-field production. It's our ability to get extra hits, field that ball, get to that ball we weren't there before, and not just do it for that one game, do it for the next game and the next 14, 15 straight, and 162 over the course of 180 days. So that efficiency is key in maintaining health for baseball.
You're the best, man. Thank you so much for your valuable instruction, insight, pregame stretching, big league coaching. I'd also like to thank every one of you that joined our classroom today, and hope you join other big league instructors, Bill Lasky, Gary Davenport, Mark Davis, Brian Harper, and Joe Youngblood. Thank you for attending the class. For Eric Ortega, Johnny Dasco. See you next time on Big League Coaching.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, E.